Hello, everyone. I'm Ryan from Fireside Yankees, and the New York Yankees sweep the doubleheader against the Toronto Blue Jays. They played some really good baseball today. Both games, I felt like they just played sharp baseball. They pitched extremely well. They hit extremely well. We're going to break down both games 1 and 2 of this doubleheader. We'll talk about game 1 on Friday. So you're going to get a game 1, 2, and 3 recap in this series recap. We appreciate you guys stopping by and checking out Fireside Yankees. The Fireside Yankees podcast is available here on YouTube or for audio download on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. You can also make sure to check out Fireside Yankees on all of your favorite social media platforms, including Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, and of course this YouTube page. Links to everything are in the description. And without further ado, let's get into today's episode. So we got a busy show to talk about. I'm your host, Ryan Garcia. This is Fireside Yankees. And we've got, the Devin Williams meltdown on Friday, removing him from the closer role, and Luke Weaver being the perceived closer for the Yankees for the season, or at least for now. Aaron Boone seemed to make it a temporary thing. We'll talk about how I feel about that being temporary versus maybe Weaver being the permanent closer. We're also going to talk about Max Fried starts. Clark Schmidt start, the rotation, the pitching staff, the bullpen structure. We'll talk a little bit about Anthony Volpe and the offense because Anthony Volpe had a pretty big series, and we'll also disclose the Aspen Vodka Player of the Week. All of that and more coming up, but let's start talking about Game 1. Now, Game 1 was a uniquely frustrating game for the New York Yankees because in this game, they pick up 10 hits, they walk 4 times, and they score 2 runs. The Yankees were 1 for 9 with runners in scoring position. They left 11 runners on base. They wasted a really productive start from Carlos Carrasco. And we talked about this on the live stream Friday, where we talked about, hey, you don't expect to win the Carlos Carrasco games, but when you do, it's a good thing. And this was a situation where you should have won the Carlos Carrasco start. You should have. You should be 3-2 in Carlos Carrasco starts. He delivered one that was worthy of, a win, 5 innings, 3 hits, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts. He went toe-to-toe with Jose Barrios. I said this game would be a kind of a offensive slugfest, and it did not end up being that. This Yankees' worst offensive showing of the series, ironically, against the pitcher who I was the least afraid of. And these 2 bullpens were able to trade blows for most of the game. Tim Hill surrenders a home run to Vlad Guerrero Jr. in the 6th. It gave Toronto a 1-0 lead. But in the bottom of the 7th, the Yankees respond against Brendan Little. They picked up an RBI on a hit from Oswaldo Cabrera. Then in the 8th inning, it looked like the Yankees kind of just scraped by to do enough to win this game because Austin Wells picks up a sacrifice fly, makes it a 2-1 game. You bring in Devin Williams, and in the offseason, if I told you, hey, it's a 2-1 game, Blue Jays haven't really hit all year, Devin Williams coming in, you go, all right, barbecue sauce. That's why you bring this guy in. That's why you acquire Devin Williams to lock down these games. Well, he faced the minimum he could face, 3 batters, and he blew the game in the minimum. He allows a single to George Springer after falling down 3-1 in the count. He hits Andrés Giménez to make it 1st and 2nd and put the tying run in runners in scoring position. And then Alejandro Kirk absolutely rockets a ball. Trent Grisham had no chance at it into the gap in center field. That scores 2. Yankees blow the lead. Addison Barger bloops a single off of Mark Leiter Jr. to score the 3rd run of the inning before Mark Leiter Jr. settles down, gets the next 3 outs. The Yankees are unable to rally and respond. And honestly, I felt like this was the moment where I was like, all right, I was kind of teetering on this after the Tampa blown save, but he cannot close games. He being Devin Williams, of course. Until he figures it out, until I see Williams stack together really good outings and do so in high leverage, do so in situations that have an effect on your win probability and a significant effect, I can't have him closing games. And I think most fans feel the way that I do in that regard. I don't think there's anyone that's pushing back on Aaron Boone's decision to replace Devin Williams with Luke Weaver as the closer. But I think that where you'll get some pushback is in the conversation of whether Luke Weaver, his role as closer, should be temporary or permanent. Now, I think it should be temporary. Like, it should be in an ideal world, Devin Williams performs extremely well and he gets to get his closer spot back. Weaver's back in that fireman role. Williams is reliable and dependable. Weaver remains reliable and dependable. And the Yankees have a good 1-2 punch in the back end of their bullpen again, on top of the depth they have in the middle innings with Mark Lear Jr., Tim Hill, Fernando Cruz. What I fear may happen is that Williams will get a couple of low leverage outings, be slotted back into a save situation, and still come apart at the seams. It was very alarming, and I'll say this now because I don't want to misquote Chris Kirschner on this, but when Chris Kirschner said that Devin Williams was not at his locker for an hour after blowing that save in Tampa, alarm bells kind of went off here. Alarm bells went off here because, quite honestly, I don't like that. It's not a good sign of how he's adjusting to New York. There's not a lot of like, oh, he's adapted to New York. Well, there are very public reports talking about, hey, this guy has not adapted to New York City well. And that shouldn't be an excuse. Is it a reason? Yes. Is it an excuse that works for me? No. Like he has to be better than this. But I'm getting the sense that I may never be able to trust Devin Williams in high leverage situations. And that's not a 100%. That's not a one, I'll never trust him. He's done. His career's over. The track record matters here. But for the time being, it's going to take a lot for me to get that trust back with Devin Williams. And I feel like a lot of Yankee fans feel the same. And then with Luke Weaver, there's just this reliability, this dependability, this every time that you have been in a big spot and Luke Weaver has pitched, he has gotten out of it scot-free. Now, that doesn't mean that moving forward, he will continue to get out of every outing scot-free. But I just trust him more. I just do. I just believe in Weaver. I really have a hard time looking at what Devin Williams is and finding myself capable of trusting him without, again, that extended sample size in the regular season this year of just stacking good outings together. And if Weaver is awesome out of the closer role and you're winning a lot of games with him closing, and he's obviously providing for those wins or producing towards those wins, he's not a negative detractor or he's not costing you games or giving you heart attacks, I don't see a reason to pull him from the role. It worked really well last year. The Yankees won the division because of the switch from Holmes to Weaver, and Weaver outpitched Holmes the rest of the year. Granted, I think that you would go track record here. Holmes was better than Weaver in terms of career relief performance going into the 2024 season and really going into that month of September, but something switched. And that's kind of where I think I'm wondering whether Luke Weaver is going to continue to perform at such a high level that you just can't pull him out of this role. And I think it's more likely than I've given it credit for. He just misses so many bats. He's got such good command. He very rarely ends up in messy situations. He very rarely puts runners on. He very rarely puts himself in spots where someone's on second after 2 walks and the tying runs now up and the go-ahead runs, on deck. Like, you don't get that with Luke Weaver. You're getting that with Devin Williams. You've seen it every single outing. Putting guys on unnecessarily. I think that frustrates me more than anyone else. Putting guys on for no good reason that shouldn't be on base. There's no reason Devin Williams shouldn't be able to throw strikes to Andres Gimenez. No reason why he's down 3-1 at George Springer. No, going back to that Tampa outing, I could go on and on. Ben Wortvet, walking Ben Wortvet. Ben Wortvet couldn't buy a hit all series. Couldn't buy a hit all season. He still can't buy a hit all season. He cannot hit. He flat out cannot hit the baseball against major league pitching. And all-worldly closer Devin Williams was like, shoot, got to really pitch careful around this guy. Can't miss in zone to him with a 4-run lead. At least, on Friday at a 1-run lead. You go, you don't want to give up the game-tying blast. Against Ben Wortvet, there's one runner on. Ben Wortvet slashing 103. Or excuse me, he's now after today's game, slashing 100, 229, 133. He's hit 3 home runs in 124 games since last year. I hate to rehash the past, but again, that's the kind of stuff that ticks off fans, ticks me off, and blows games and loses you baseball games. You lose baseball games because of bad play like that. But you looked at the rest of the bullpen and the rest of the series, it was no, I mean, the rest of the series was just today, but there were no meltdowns. There was none of this, oh, you just put him on. Oh, what are we doing? Why is this guy on base now? You've got a lead. And we're rolling to game 2 here. I didn't think the Yankees were going to put up 11 runs against Kevin Gausman. I didn't. Not on my forecast for today. They didn't put 11 technically on Kevin Gausman. They put 6 on Kevin Gausman. But I didn't expect them to put 6 and chase him in the third. Especially after in the first 2 innings, Toronto scores a run off of a really bad throwing error from Oswaldo Cabrera, his 4th of the year. He's really struggled with throwing the ball across the infield, it seems. And then Kevin Gausman was cruising. He was cruising. Really, through the first 7, I'd say first 8 outs of the game. First 8 outs of the game, he was on a roll. Or excuse me, first 7 outs of the game. Apologize. Jason Dominguez had a first pitch flyout to start the 3rd inning. First pitch flyout. Kevin Gausman had 18 pitches. That was his 19th pitch, and he recorded 7 outs. Not even 20 pitches, and he completed 2 innings, and he already had an out in the 3rd. Yankees did not look good offensively. Didn't look good. All they had was that Volpe double. That was it. They did not look like they could see Kevin Gausman today. Then Cabrera walks. Yeah, all right. Top of the lineup. Maybe something happens here. Then Rice walks. They get Aaron Judge up. Now Aaron Judge smacks a single to right field. I have no idea why Oswaldo Cabrera didn't score on it. No clue. No clue why he didn't score on that one. But it doesn't matter because Cody Bellinger picks up a sacrifice fly to make it 1-1, give the Yankees a run. I fully thought the Yankees weren't going to score when Cabrera didn't score there. I tweeted it out. I was like, all right, Cody Bellinger should into a double play here. It's just kind of how the day felt, right? Like, you know what, maybe it's going to rain and pour a little bit for the Yankees today. And, I say this all the time. You lose 1 or 2, 3 straight. You move on. It's baseball. But I don't think the Yankees were interested in me doing a stream where I sit here and I go, or me doing a video and where I sit here and go, it's just baseball, guys. You lose 1, you lose 2. These kinds of things happen because Paul Goldschmidt walked and then Kevin Gausman just unraveled. So 3 walks in the inning already. Then he walks Jazz Chisholm with the bases loaded. 2-1. 4th walk of the inning. He walks Anthony Volpe. Anthony Volpe down 0-2 in the count, mind you. 5th walk of the inning. Bases loaded walk. It's 3-1 Yankees. And Austin Wells battles back in the count and absolutely demolishes the ball to the right center field gap. He looked really good with the bat today, which is really encouraging. It was a bases clearing RBI double. And the Yankees go up 6-1, and they don't really look back. Max Fried kind of struggled with his command early on, but he wasn't very interested in making this a game either. He delivered 6 innings of 1-run ball, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts, 6 hits. It was a bit of a grind for him. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't the crispest version of Max Fried I've ever seen in my life. This wasn't Max Fried throwing, 7 innings of scoreless baseball at 12 strikeouts level of good. But damn, was he effective. 101 pitches. So he gave you the deep pitch count, 8 groundouts, 6 flyouts. A lot of contact against him, but a lot of soft contact. If I'm not mistaken, I don't know if the Blue Jays hit a ball like really well off of him, like just smoked it. I'm going to pull up the StatCast data here, but I'm not under the impression that Max Fried was getting touched up today. Did give up a barrel to Kirk, give up a couple of hard hit balls, but the barrel to Kirk was a flyout. Everything else was kind of harmless contact. And that's the Max Fried special. 88.4 mile per hour average exit velocity against. That's the Max Fried special. Just not giving up hard contact. A lot of contact on the ground. A lot of negative launch angles. About 50% of the contact was on the ground. That's just the Max Fried special. He looked really, really, really just in control of himself in big spots, and I love that about Max Fried. He is truly an ace. His 1.43 ERA is the lowest in Major League Baseball among qualified starters. But the offense wasn't done. See, 6 runs, that's cute. Anthony Volpe picks up his 5th home run of the season. A porch job almost to right field. It was 350 to right field. That gets out in some ballparks other than Yankee Stadium, but he had a really good offensive showing. Cabrera has a bases clearing RBI double after Wells doubled and Dominguez walked. Paul Goldschmidt picked up an RBI double in the sixth and a run scored on a Jazz Chisholm reaching on an error later on in the eighth inning. Now, couple of notes here. Yerry De Los Santos, going to give him a little bit of a round of applause because he came up as a 27th man and he provided some pretty valuable innings here. He pitched in 2 innings, completely saved the Yankee bullpen because now they didn't have to get a garbage time inning out of any of their important guys. I say important guys in the guys in which it's a 1-run game, a 2-run game, you're going to them. It's your Mark Leiter Jr.'s, your Fernando Cruz's, your Luke Weavers of the world. I'm sure I snubbed someone. Tim Hill. I did not mention Tim Hill. Tim Hill's, of course, one of those guys I'm going to. Then Tyler Matzik made his Yankee debut. He did give up 2 hits and 2 rocket hits and a walk and a run with only 1 strikeout, but his velo looked good. And honestly, he hasn't pitched in so long at the major league level. I think he's just happy to have gotten an inning and get, his feet underneath him. I hope he can continue to build off of that outing because he's got a pretty decent repertoire. So game 2, Yankees win 11-2, 16-11 on the season. You go, all right, you got another game to play. Day's not over. Series isn't over. And very importantly, if the Yankees lost this second game, they would have dropped the series, and we'd be sitting here and talking about the Yankees losing back-to-back series to the Guardians and the Blue Jays, which, you start going, all right, you're 1 loss or 2 losses ahead of Boston in the loss column. They're kind of playing some good baseball. They look pretty good. They just kind of thrashed Cleveland. You're on the, not playing great baseball. That wouldn't feel good going into Monday. That wouldn't feel good going into Monday. But instead, the Yankees showed up and showed out. They got it going early. Trent Grisham, leadoff bomb. A solo jack. He had 2 walks in the day to go with that solo jack to make it 1-0 in the first. I believe it was not a first pitch home run, but it was a leadoff home run for the Yankees. So really good there. Then Toronto and Clark Schmidt had really, really poor command today. I really thought that I was really shocked that Toronto didn't capitalize a little more against him, but he was constantly in jams. He had 4 walks in the day, only allowed 1 hit. That hit came in the 3rd inning, a solo bomb off of Anthony Santander. He threw a sinker and he left it up against the lefty and middle up. It was a poorly located pitch. You could tell Schmidt was battling command issues all day, but I was actually really happy with what Schmidt was able to do despite the command struggles because he walked 4, sure, but he only allowed 1 hit and he struck out 6 batters. So 5 innings, 1 run, 6 strikeouts, 4 walks, a home run, 1 hit. You'll take it. That is a pretty solid start, especially for a guy who's just 3 starts into their season and has not had and did not have a normal spring training, only had 2 rehab starts, only had 1 spring start and was dealing with injuries. So very, very solid start from Clark Schmidt. The star of the show, pitching-wise, it's kind of hard to argue that it was not the bullpen because the bullpen was really, really darn good for the New York Yankees today. Tim Hill comes in. You know what you're getting with Tim Hill. Ground ball out, gives up a single. Oh, no. Next pitch, ground ball, double play. Inning over. 3 batters up, 3 down, 7 pitches. Mark Leiter Jr. comes in, strikes out the side. Now, I will say this about Mark Leiter Jr. I think he's a lot better than people give him credit for, but I'll give that whole spiel at the end. Fernando Cruz, 1 inning, 1 hit, 2 strikeouts. Luke Weaver faces the minimum. The only guy who didn't face the minimum in this bullpen was Fernando Cruz, who allowed an 82-mile-an-hour single to Vlad Guerrero Jr. A little dink and dunk action on a fastball that stayed up a little bit. This bullpen is cerebral. This bullpen is truly incredible. You just pray that Devin Williams can get back on track because if these are the performances you're going to get from your bullpen, right? Oh my God, this group could be good. Jonathan Loaiza's on the way back. You have Ian Hamilton. I didn't even mention Ian Hamilton. He is one of the guys you would also use in a big spot, and he didn't get used all day, which is really, really good for the Yankees. Their bullpen ERA is 3.20 in the season now, 3.35 FIP, 26.9% strikeout rate. If you look at all teams in Major League Baseball, the New York Yankees have a top 10 bullpen. They have a top 10 bullpen. If you want to use active roster relievers, the Yankee ERA actually gets worse. That's just that. Yoenis Gomez had a pretty good ERA. I forgot about that. Even though his underlyings were pretty stinky. This is a good bullpen. I really trust this bullpen. As long as Devin Williams isn't closing out the game, right now I trust this bullpen with the lead. Now the Yankees didn't waste this bullpen effort, thankfully. The bottom of the sixth inning, they pick up 3 runs. Aaron Judge hits a solo home run. We'll get to Aaron Judge in a bit because he's going to be mentioned again in this episode. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Jason Dominguez smokes a double the opposite field. And I'll say this. If you watch Jason Dominguez at bats, so many times you'll see like pitchers try the backdoor breaking ball against left-handed Dominguez, and he'll just smoke it the other way. He'll just smoke it on the line the other way. Pitchers got to stop doing it for their sake. They really got to stop doing it for their sake. They really do. JC Escarra picked up an RBI single right after. So that was your 3-run inning right there. And JC Escarra, I want to give props to JC Escarra because he hits his first career home run and it was a bomb. Like, this was no cheapie. Like, this was nuked. This ball was absolutely destroyed. And I was truly impressed here. We're going to pull it up right now. JC Escarra's very first major league home run, the 30-year-old rookie, came all the way back from being an Uber driver, being cut by the Orioles a couple of years back, 2 RBIs in the day. I believe he had 2 hits on the day. Yes, he had 2 hits on the day. Went 2 for 4, 2 RBIs, and this absolute tank.
Driven deep to right field. There it goes. See ya into the bleachers. Escarra's first big league home run.
Well, don't run so fast, JC. You got to enjoy this. First career home run. Michael, you remember your first hit? You remember your first home run? Well, we got to.
You absolutely remember your first home run, Paul O'Neill. You absolutely do. An absolute nuke for JC Escarra. Wanted to give him his shouts. But because the New York Yankees walk away with 2 wins, I get to play this twice. That's 1 for game 2 of the series. And then for game 3, the New York Yankees are now 17-11 on the season. They have the best record in the American League East. They stand at first place in the American League East. They have a 2-game lead over the Boston Red Sox, a 3-game lead in the loss column. Tampa Bay's in third place, 14-14. They've played much better baseball, winners of 5 straight. The Toronto Blue Jays fall to 4th place, 13-15. They've hit their struggles as of late. And the Baltimore Orioles, who were just swept by the Detroit Tigers and are the Yankees' upcoming opponent, we'll preview that series in a bit, are in last place at 10-17. So the Yankees are off to the best start in the American League East. The only team better than them record-wise in the AL are the Detroit Tigers, who are kind of the only team who I feel like beat the Yankees handedly in the series they played them in so far. Like, against Arizona, you go, damn, they should have won that second game, or that first game. Against Cleveland, they should have won that second game. Against the Rays, they beat them in that series. They should have won. They should have swept them, it feels like. Like, the Yankees, the Giants, they definitely should have won that third game. It doesn't feel like they've been dominated by a single opponent. The only opponent who's kind of come close is the Tigers. I'd argue they pretty handedly beat us. Moving on to our next segment of the show. Again, your New York Yankees, they take the series against Toronto. That is a really, really, really good feeling. We've got our Aspen Vodka Player of the Week brought to you by Aspen Vodka, which delivers a great product and is featured in Yankee Stadium's Espresso Martini, a brand new product for the 2025 season. Go on to Yankee Stadium, check it out, or go to the Aspen Vodka social media pages, check their links out. They've got really good products. Remember, age 21 or older to purchase and drink responsibly. But our Aspen Vodka Player of the Week, voted by you guys on Instagram and Twitter by a pretty considerable margin, not a massive one. Rice last time kind of dominated the voting. This week, it is none other than Aaron Judge, who capped off his Aspen Vodka Player of the Week award with this bomb today.
Judge hits one deep to right field. Santander back, track, wall, leap, see ya. A home run for Judge. And the Yankees take a 2-1 lead.
Well, that's Aaron Judge doing his thing. I mean, I talked earlier that Anthony Volpe had a no-doubter. Now this is a no-doubter from a righty. That's Aaron Judge, 8th of the year.
No doubt about that one, Paul. And this week, I mean, we count back to Sunday because the voting closes on Saturday. But this week, Aaron Judge, good God. 429 average, 12 hits, 484 on base, 679 slug, a 1.163 OPS. He hit a home run this week and had a triple and 2 doubles. Could argue that Aaron Judge should have had another home run on Sunday, and he just missed hitting a home run again in Cleveland, that ball that just kind of rocketed off the top of the wall. Aaron Judge now has 8 home runs on the season. He has a unbelievable 250, 249 WRC plus, 8 home runs, 27 RBIs, 406 average, 500 OBP, 717 slugging percentage. Aaron Judge, congratulations on being voted the Aspen Vodka Player of the Week. If you want to vote on the Aspen Vodka Player of the Week that we release on Sundays, and check out our custom-made cocktails made by our very own Sam Lucchini. You guys can check out the Instagram, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Twitter, because we do our polling there. And Sam drops the videos on those custom-made cocktails on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, and of course, you can check those out. Links to everything are in the description. Last week, it was Ben Rice with Ben's Blue Lagoon. It was rated very highly by Sam and Papa Lucchini. We love Luke Lucchini, Sam's father, Mr. Lucchini, the GOAT. Really, really, really good week for the Yankees. I mean, look, they dropped that series in Cleveland, but I didn't think they played bad baseball. They pick up this series against Toronto, and I think they make an important change with Williams out of the closer spot. I think that is an important change that Aaron Boone had to make. I think you could argue it was a little too late. You could argue you should have done it after Tampa. But for now, Luke Weaver is your closer. The Yankees close out this week with a series win against Toronto. And now we can look ahead to this Baltimore series. The New York Yankees will be hosted by the Baltimore Orioles at 6:35 tomorrow. They'll kick off this series. It'll be Will Warren versus Tomoyuki Sugano. 2-1, 3.54 ERA. Not a strikeout pitcher. He's going to get a lot of soft contact. He's going to, pound the strike zone and try and get weak contact and ground balls and all that stuff. But I think the Yankees profile well for that, because this is a team that their one bugaboo is a strikeout. Outside of that, they hit everything really, really hard. But the Orioles also hit everything really, really hard. They just haven't had their results fall for them. The pitching staff is bad. The lineup is good on paper. And I believe this is Will Warren's first major league start against the Baltimore Orioles, so a good test for him. On Tuesday, same start time, 6:35. It'll be Carlos Rodon, and the Orioles do not have a listed starter here. If we look on Fangraphs to look and see who their projected starter would be for this, or their next time through the rotation, on paper, it should be Cade Povich. We don't know who they're going to go with on the 30th. We technically still don't know who they're going to go with on the 29th, but based on turns through the rotation, Cade Povich would be the logical answer for the 29th, and if not, at least the 30th. On the 30th for the Yankees, to close out this series, another 6:35 start, it'll be Carlos Carrasco. Cade Povich is listed as a starter for this game, so I'll correct myself there. We do not know who's starting game 2 of this series for Baltimore, but we know that Povich is going game 3 and Sugano is going game 1. Povich 1-2 on the season, 5.04 ERA, a solid left-handed pitching prospect, kind of he was a top 100 guy if I'm not mistaken, but not overpowering stuff, doesn't get a bunch of whiffs, but as a left-handed pitcher, you've got to be a little bit worried about how that matchup looks for the Yankees. So again, the Yankees will take on the Orioles in Baltimore. It'll be their first series of the season against Baltimore. You hope they can beat Baltimore at least 2 out of 3, given Baltimore's recent struggles, but I think you always want to respect the opponent in front of you when they're an AL East opponent. I don't care how bad an AL East opponent is. In the years where the Orioles were bad, I mean, they gave the Yankees some fits. So I still think we're too early into the season to deduce that the Orioles are not a threat and they're not a team worth worrying about. And I also think we're too early in the season to overlook any opponent. You got to go play your best 9 innings or more, and you've got to do a job. The Yankees have to take 2 out of 3 here, or not have to, but the Yankees, it would suck if we don't take 2 out of 3 here. Again, really, really encouraging series here in Toronto. They hit a lot. That was good. The offense came through with running scoring position. That was something they've been struggling with in Cleveland, and was kind of a mind-numbing experience to go through. They shut down an offense they should have shut down. They still have the most home runs in baseball, or tied for the most home runs in baseball. They have the second most runs scored in baseball behind the Cubs. They have the highest position player WAR in baseball. And as a pitching staff, their ERA has improved to 3.70. That's 11th best in Major League Baseball. So they're getting better in that regard. And yeah, really appreciate you guys sticking through and watching this video. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. I apologize that this is not a live stream. I'm just not able to stream today. And this will just come out as a pre-recorded video. But again, we really appreciate you guys doing what you do for us and showing support for the page. Again, if you enjoyed today's video, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, turn the notification bell. Check out Fireside Yankees on all your favorite social media platforms. And check out EmpireSportsMedia.com to check out our written work for the New York Yankees. Thank you again, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Let's go Yankees. Peace out.